But wait a minute, time out. Before I get started here, can I put a shout out right now for www.mypillow.com? What? Yes. Mypillow.com. That's www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. That's www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. You see what Mike Landau has now? He has the sheets. Unbelievable pricing reduced on the sheets and on the towels and the blankets and the slippers, but and the incredibly low prices on the best pillow there is. Are you serious? Are you serious? mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. Every bed in your house ought to have 3, if not 4, My Pillows on it. And go, and here's the best way to order it, okay? Go to www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. You'll be glad you did. And they ship really fast too. So you'll get it within 2-3 days.
Dow down more than 450 points on recession fears. Stocks dropped steeply on Thursday as investors showed fears of a potential recession and currency volatility, erasing gains made during Wednesday's rally. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped more than 450 points, or 1.5%, while the Nasdaq fell 2.8% and the New York Stock Exchange sunk by 1.6% when markets closed on Thursday. The S&P 500 in the afternoon briefly fell to its lowest level in late 2020 before rising in the final minutes of trading, although all sectors suffered losses on Thursday. Investors have fixated on the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes, which are aimed at lowering demand to reduce inflation. Central bankers have expressed an intent to continue raising rates to curb price growth after multiple aggressive increases, potentially giving way to a recession. The Fed has warned its monetary tightening will likely produce an uptick in unemployment. Volatility in currency markets has led to more fret, with stocks having climbed on Wednesday as the Bank of England intervened to buy long-term government bonds. Stock markets tumbled on Thursday was driven in part by Apple's nearly 4.8% drop, which CNBC reported came after a Bank of America analyst downgraded the stock from buy to neutral. Tesla stock sank 6.8%, Meta fell by 3.2%, and Amazon fell by 2.6%. Ethiopia's civil war is heating up once again. Hostilities in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region escalated as airstrikes and the mobilization of troops in towns on either side of the border with neighboring Eritrea forced tens of thousands of people to flee their homes. The renewed hostilities after a 5-month ceasefire threatened to hamper Eritrea's negotiations with the International Monetary Fund for a new loan and inflame regional tensions in the 2-year-long conflict. New satellite imagery, one of the world's most reclusive nations, shows a military buildup inside Eritrea near the border with Ethiopia's northern Tigray region, backing up witness accounts of a new large-scale offensive. Eritrea has fought alongside Ethiopia against Tigrayan forces. It rejects allegations that its soldiers committed some of the worst atrocities in the conflict that began in late 2020. Witnesses in Eritrea told the Associated Press that people, including students and public servants, are being rounded up across the nation and sent to fight in the new offensive. The satellite imagery provided by Maxar Technologies shows what Maxar described as battle tanks, self-propelled howitzers, and an M46 field gun battery in the Eritrean town of Surha, near the border, on September 19th. The town is across from the border of the Tigrayan town and one of the first communities overrun within the war. Eritrea is one of the world's most closed countries to independent journalists, and images from there related to the war in Ethiopia are rare. Last week, Tigrayan forces accused Eritrea of launching a full-scale offensive along the border in what appeared to be an escalation of fighting that renewed back in August after months of relative calm. Germany will borrow nearly 200 billion euro to cap consumers' energy bills. The German government announced plans to borrow 200 billion euro to cap natural gas prices for households and businesses. That's a bigger price tag than the 150 billion euro the UK government is expected to borrow to finance its own price cap. Germany, Europe's biggest economy, is trying to cope with surging gas and electricity costs caused largely by a collapse in Russian gas supplies to Europe. Moscow has blamed these supply issues on the Western sanctions that followed its invasion of Ukraine in February. Quote, prices have to come down, so the government will do everything it can. To this end, we are setting up a large defensive shield, said German Chancellor Olaf Scholz on Thursday. Under the plans, which are set to run until spring of 2024, the government will introduce an emergency price brake on gas, the details of which will be announced next month. It is also scraping a planned gas levy meant to help firms struggling with high spot market prices. Former NSA employee arrested on espionage-related charges. A Colorado Springs man will make his initial appearance in federal court today on charges that he attempted to transmit classified national defense information to a representative of a foreign government. Jare Sebastian Dalkey, 30, was an employee of the National Security Agency, where he served as an information systems security designer from June 6 of 2022 until July 1st of 2022. According to the affidavit in support of the criminal complaint, between August and September of 2022, Dalkey used an encrypted email account to transmit excerpts of 3 classified documents he had obtained during his employment to an individual Dalkey believed to be working for a foreign government. In actuality, that person was an undercover FBI agent. Dalkey subsequently arranged to transfer additional classified information in his possession to the undercover FBI agent at a location in Denver, Colorado. The FBI arrested Dalkey on September 28th after Dalkey arrived at the specified location. To prove he had access to sensitive information, Dalkey transmitted excerpts of 3 classified documents to the undercover FBI agent. Each excerpt contained classification markings. 1 excerpt was classified at the secret level, and 2 excerpts were classified at the top secret level. In return for this information, the FBI undercover agent provided the requested cryptocurrency to an address Dalkey had provided. Dalkey is charged by criminal complaint alleging 3 violations of the Espionage Act, which makes it a crime to transmit or attempt to transmit NDI to a representative of a foreign nation with intent or reason to believe that information could be used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of a foreign nation. The Espionage Act carries a potential sentence of death or any term of years up to life. Finland bans Russians from entering as tourists. Finland announced it would ban Russian citizens with tourist visas from entering the country starting on Friday, curtailing one of the last easily accessible routes to Europe for Russians trying to flee a military mobilization aimed at bolstering the Kremlin's war in Ukraine. With the exception of Norway, which has only one border crossing with Russia, Finland has provided the last easily accessible land route to Europe for Russian holders of European visas. The government justified its decision by saying that continued arrivals of Russian tourists in Finland is endangering the country's international relations and cited security concerns related to Russia's war in Ukraine, the illegal referendums arranged by Russia in parts of Ukraine, and recent sabotage in the Nord Stream gas pipelines from Russia under the Baltic Sea. Russian citizens can still enter Finland, which shares a 1,300-kilometer or 830-mile land border with Russia. For family reasons, study or work, also, Russian political dissidents may seek to enter for humanitarian purposes. As of September 1st, Finland slashed the number of visas, including for tourism purposes, issued to Russian citizens to 1/10 of the typical number in a show of solidarity with Ukraine.